Okay, let's come to the next category, ionic solids. Ionic solids, what are they made up of? They are made up of oppositely charged ions like NaCl. It's made up of Na plus and Cl minus, is it not? So they are made up of oppositely charged ions. Obviously, what is the interactive force there? Strong electrostatic force of interaction, is it not? Because they are oppositely charged ions, so there will be electrostatic force of interaction between the two. So when the interactions are very strong, then they are hard but brittle. Brittle means anything that breaks. When it falls down, it will break. Then they have high melting points and boiling points because intermolecular forces are strong. They are insulators in the solid state. Why they are insulators? Because there are no free ions, free electrons. All the oppositely charged ions, they are bound. They are under a hold of electrostatic interaction. So they are not free to move. That is why they are insulators in the solid state. But they are good conductors in the molten and aqueous state. So all ionic solids come under this category. Then let us see what are metallic solids. Now metallic solids, to some extent you have studied in 11th class also. What are metallic solids? Metallic solids, they are a collection of positive ions surrounded by a sea of free electrons. Now, collection of positive ions. These positive ions are called kernels. Now, what do you mean by kernels? Kernels are, say for example, if I'm talking of, say magnesium, right? Magnesium configuration is 282. Okay. Now, this is the magnesium nucleus modulo. Okay, this is the nucleus, and this 2 and 8 put together, leaving the valence electrons, this would be called as Mg2 plus, is it not? So the nucleus along with all the other electrons other than the valence electron, that is called as a positive kernel. It's positively charged, is it not? When you leave the valence electrons, it is positively charged. Now these positively charged ions, they are surrounded by a sea of electrons. So there will be so many Mg2 plus which will be surrounded by their own 2 valence electrons जिनके उनकी free है, is it not? So they will be surrounded by a sea of free electrons and these are positively charged. Okay, obviously positive charge and the free electrons के बीच में electrostatic force of interaction होंगे. Okay, that is holding the metal in the form of a solid. So here, collection of positive ions surrounded by a sea of free electrons. I suppose you have understood. Same way if you consider copper. Copper is having at the end, it is 4s1, is it not? 3d10, 4s1, right? So leaving the 4s1, all the other, the nucleus and all the other electrons put together, that will act as Cu plus. Am I right? Okay. Now the Cu plus, they are called as positive to kernels, and so many Cu plus ions surrounded by a free set of electrons. हर एक की एक इलेक्ट्रॉन फ्री है, तो अगर 10 Cu है, 10 Cu plus होंगे surrounded by 10 electrons. Okay, so this is what is called as metallic solid. So the force of attraction will be electrostatic between the positive kernels and free electrons. They have high electrical and thermal conductivity because in this case, in the case of metallic solid, the free electrons, they move at their own mean position. They just move like this, like this, like this, right? They have high electrical and thermal conductivity. Then they have good luster. They are highly malleable and ductile. Okay, so these are the properties of metallic solids. All these things you have already studied, you know it. Okay, because these free electrons only, they carry current from one end to the other, right? It will get passed on. Then the last category is covalent solid. Now what are covalent solid? Let us see. The constituent particles are atoms. They are giant molecules. Giant molecules means they are made up of so many atoms put together through strong covalent bonds, and it is directional in nature. Now, what do you mean by directional property? They have a particular geometry, shape. This is what is called as directional property. See, ionic compounds are non-directional. Why do I say non-directional? Say, for example, if I am giving you NaCl, right? Now, in this NaCl, Na plus is surrounded by 6 Cl minus ions. 4 I can show you on the plane of paper. 1 Cl minus above the plane, 1 Cl minus below the plane. Okay. So each and every Na plus is surrounded by 6 Cl minus, and each Cl minus is surrounded by 6 Na plus. One above the plane, one below the plane. Now, which one you will call it as NaCl? This also can be called NaCl. This also can be called. This also can be called. This also can be called, is it not? So you cannot pinpoint and say which is the NaCl molecule here. So in such a case, you call such solid structures as non-directional, right? Whereas if you're talking about these covalent molecules, then they are directional. They have individual entities. Okay, you call them as directional. Like methane is tetrahedral, right? PCl5 is trigonal bipyramidal. So like that, they have individual structures. Then, because of the strong covalent bonds, they are hard and they are also brittle, and they have extremely high melting points, and they are insulators because there are no free electrons. Okay, there are no ions, so they are insulators. But here there is an exception, that is graphite, in which each carbon is surrounded by only 3 other carbon atoms. So one valence electron of each carbon is free. That makes it a good conductor. Otherwise, this is an exception here. Otherwise, diamond, silicon dioxide, silicon carbide, they are all insulators, perfect insulators, right?